Welcome everyone. Let's begin our lesson for today by going over the learning goals and success criteria. First, what are we learning? We're learning how to understand complex numbers and how they are typically represented, how to plot complex numbers on the complex plane, how to find the conjugate of complex numbers, how to simplify complex numbers and perform mathematical operations on complex numbers, how to recognize operations on complex numbers as transformations of the original complex number, how to compare and contrast mathematical techniques in order to solve complex problems, and how to evaluate your options when solving problems in order to solve problems in the most efficient and simplest way possible. How are we learning it? Through the Complex Critical Arguments Part 2 notes and the Complex Critical Arguments Part 2 assignment. When can we use this information? To determine the amount of voltage being used in your house at different times of the year, and to look at difficult situations in your life and evaluate your options and opportunities in order to make the best decision for your life. How do we know we learned it? By getting a score of 4 on the Complex Critical Arguments Part 2 assignment. Now let's take a look at our agenda for today. We will begin by going over our learning goals and success criteria. While we do that, you'll fill out your Get It Started. Once you've completed your Get It Started, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. Next, we'll do our weekly raffle. After that, we'll go over the Complex Critical Arguments Part 2 notes, and then I'll give you time to complete the Complex Critical Arguments Part 2 assignment on Desmos. Once you've completed the assignment, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. At the end of class, we'll go back over our learning goals and success criteria while you fill out your Before You Go. Your only homework for tonight is to continue working on the Reasoning with Complex Numbers study guide and any incomplete assignments that you may have. Let's take a look now at the Complex Critical Arguments Part 2 notes. The notes begin with the learning goals and success criteria. First of all, what is a critical argument? A critical argument is a formal discussion critiquing the work of someone else to prove or disprove their assumptions and conclusion. Another way of saying this is you're creating an articulate argument. So you're deciding whether that person is right or wrong, and you're giving reasons why they are right or wrong. So on your activity today, you're going to be given a table that looks like this, and you're going to start creating different arguments of why these things occurred. So you're going to compare the radius of each of the blue and green values and decide how they got the red value out of it. And then you're going to look at the direction, or theta, and decide how this and this came out to be this when we combine them. So you're going to take a look at that, and you're going to make arguments of what happened and then why you think that happened. Let's talk now about how to sign in to Desmos to complete your work. So what we're going to do is you're going to click on the link to go to the assignment, and it should take you to a page that looks kind of like this. And right here where it says sign in with Google, we're going to click there. And it's going to pop up with our email accounts. You're going to click on your school email account, and it should already have you logged in because you should have already been logged in using Google Classroom. From there, I'm just going to click Start the Activity, and it will take me into the assignment and allow me to begin. So that's how you will log in to Desmos using Google. Let's take a look now at the Complex Critical Arguments Part 2 assignment. The assignment begins with our learning goals and success criteria. If we scroll down, there's a link here that takes us to the Desmos activity. Go ahead and click on that link. And it should take you to a page that looks like this. We'll go ahead and click Start the Activity. The activity begins with the learning goals and success criteria as well. We'll go ahead and click Next. And just like we did before, we're going to look at this table and we're going to try to figure out the pattern in the moduli. So if we look at the r's, when we do 2 to the first power, we end up with r being 2. So we're going to try to figure out what's going on here. So for this one, we did 2 to the second power. We started out with 2 and we ended up with 4. For this one, we're going to the third power and we started with 2 and went to 8. So what we should notice is whatever power we're raising to, we're also going to raise the r to that power. So we can go ahead and state that. So we would just state that in here, that we're raising the r value to the power that we're trying to get to. Now what about the arguments? This one went from 45 to 90 when we went to the second power. When we went to the third power, we went from 45 to 135. So it looks like it's just multiplication. We're adding 45 that number of times. So we would just state that in here. Once you've done that for both the moduli and the arguments, you're going to state the entire thing in one sentence. So you're going to combine these two boxes into this box here. Now for this one, we're going to state the general rule. So we said that r is basically being raised to the p power, and then we're going to multiply p times alpha for each of these. So you would just write down what that rule would look like there. So you'll go ahead and complete that. Once you're done, you'll go back to your Google form and click Next. This will take you to your Before You Go. Go ahead and fill out your Before You Go and then submit your work on Google Classroom.